Hi there, it's Grandma and it's story time. Today I have a book, it's called Cocoa Magic. It's about a boy and a chocolate shop. What could be better than a story about chocolate? But the story is also about empathy. And empathy, it's the ability to understand how somebody else is feeling. So if someone else is feeling sad, like you understand it. And maybe you could do something about it. Daniel was only 4 years old when he made his first batch of chocolates from start to finish. His great uncle Louis, the Cocoa King of Charlottetown, didn't help him one bit, except to steady his hand as he poured the warm, silky chocolate into the mold. Just think, said Uncle Louis, holding out a single cocoa bean. A humble seed. Add vanilla, sugar, milk, and voila! It's magic, my boy. By the time Daniel was 8, he savored one precious hour every morning in the chocolate shop with his uncle. Together they crafted wonderful treasures, melting and pouring, scraping and molding, and Daniel finished each gem like a pro. And then the old man and the young boy would walk the 3 blocks to school together. The red brick building was always seemed cold and lonely, especially on a winter's morning. On one such morning, a new girl came to class. The teacher introduced her as Sarah Miller, and when Daniel smiled at her, she didn't smile back. Thought Daniel. If school felt cold and lonely to him, it must feel downright terrible to Sarah. The next morning, Daniel told Uncle Louis about Sarah. Together they came up with a plan. Before leaving the shop, Daniel selected the best chocolate caramel of the batch, and Uncle Louis popped it into a small golden box. The moment Daniel got to school, he carefully placed the treasure into Sarah's desk. Nobody saw him do it. Soon enough, Sarah sat down. Out of the corner of his eye, Daniel saw her reach into her desk for her notebook. Finding the box, she peered inside. And then Sarah did something that Daniel had not seen her do even once the day before. She smiled. It was magic. For the next 3 days, Daniel kept the magic going. Vanilla fudge one day, coconut cream the next, and then a piece of nougat. And every day Sarah seemed a little less scared and a little more cheerful. By Friday, Daniel realized he wasn't the only one watching Sarah eat her chocolate. Ben was watching too. And so, on Monday morning, Daniel brought 2 small golden boxes to school, one for Sarah and one for Ben. And he noticed that Ben was a little bit kinder to everyone that day. But still, that wasn't enough. Everywhere Daniel looked, someone else needed chocolate. A truffle turned Todd into a teddy bear. A salted caramel made Suki smile. And a pecan praline changed Pablo into a prince. Magic. And nobody, even for a moment, suspected it was Daniel. On the last day of the month, Daniel and Uncle Lewis arrived at school before anyone else, carrying 24 boxes, one for every child in Daniel's class, plus the teacher. That was a very good day. But the next day was a bad one. "Daniel," said Uncle Lewis, "I have something to tell you. Next week I'm off to the World Chocolatiers Conference in Geneva, Switzerland. I've been asked to speak about cocoa beans. It's the chance of a lifetime, my boy." "But," stammered Daniel, "but what about the chocolate shop?" "I'll be closing it for 5 days. But don't worry, my boy. I promise I'll be back." And then, to seal the deal, Uncle Lewis hugged Daniel tight. 5 days! Daniel couldn't remember the shop closing for even 1 day, let alone 5. On Monday morning, Daniel trudged to school alone. He stopped for a long time outside the shop, peering into the darkness. What would happen to the cocoa magic without Uncle Lewis? The cheer would be gone. The smiles on his classmates' faces would disappear. Sure enough, the red brick school building was cold and lonely once more. This time, it was Daniel who felt terrible. The second morning was even lonelier. Nobody looked Daniel in the eye. Nobody came anywhere near him. And then, surprise! It was magic. "But how did you know?" Daniel asked Sarah. "Daniel," said Sarah, "you are a wonderful chocolatier, but you are a terrible actor." From that day forward, the gift giving was unstoppable. Every student from kindergarten to 8th grade got into the act. Uncle Lewis was tickled pink, and somehow, magically, the red brick building never seemed cold or lonely again. The end. Now, the author wrote a note here And she says that you're born with the ability to be empathetic or to empathize, but you can also learn it. And then sometimes it can be taken a step further by thinking of a simple act of kindness that you could do for somebody that you're empathizing with, like Daniel did in the story. It says another wonderful fact about empathy is that it's like a plant or a tree. It can grow. When extended empathy to another person, it will in turn find it a little easier to show empathy to somebody else. It's exciting to realize that one small act of kindness can start an entire movement, just like one small cocoa bean can become a large and beautiful tree. So there's our story about chocolate and about empathy. Thinking about somebody else and understanding how they're feeling. All right. Hope you enjoyed the story. Grandma loves you.